Our channel is 100% focused on stories like this. It's bringing you valuable information that the media hides from you, so please, to make sure you don't miss videos like this, subscribe to the channel and leave your like. It really helps our work. The Great Reset is being presented to the public as a plan to rebuild the global economy after crises, to promote sustainability, and to modernize societies. Yet, behind the polished speeches and headlines, some theorists warn that this initiative is far more than economic reform. They suggest it is a blueprint for a new world order, a consolidation of power unlike anything seen in human history. The World Economic Forum, led by Klaus Schwab, champions the Great Reset as a vision for the future, emphasizing technology, green energy, and equitable societies. But critics question whether these goals are a cover for centralizing control over governments, finance, and populations on a global scale. Some believe the Great Reset is a strategy to impose a digital economy. Cash is being phased out, replaced with digital currencies that can be monitored and controlled. Could this be a tool to track spending, enforce behavior, and consolidate financial power in the hands of a few? Global crises, pandemics, climate events, and economic disruptions play a key role in this plan, theorists argue. They are presented as reasons to restructure society, but could they also serve to normalize control measures, surveillance, and restrictions that would otherwise face resistance? Health policies and restrictions are often justified by emergencies, yet their implementation coincides with unprecedented expansion of government powers and data collection. Are these temporary measures, or the first steps toward a permanent global governance system? Technology is central to the Great Reset. Smart cities, artificial intelligence, and biometric tracking are presented as progress. Yet these systems allow unprecedented monitoring of individuals, predicting behavior, and potentially manipulating choices. Could this technological leap serve the few, while restricting the freedom of the many? Education is another focus. Curriculums are being restructured to emphasize compliance, critical skills for modern economies, and digital literacy. Yet some theorists warn that controlling education also shapes thought, molds values, and aligns generations with the vision of the planners behind the Great Reset. Economic inequality is highlighted as a global problem, and addressing it is a stated goal. But critics argue that the solutions often empower multinational corporations and central banks, consolidating wealth under fewer hands. Could the promise of equality mask a deeper agenda of centralized control? The environmental aspect of the Great Reset is particularly controversial. Climate initiatives are necessary, some argue, but the speed and scale of the proposed changes raise questions. Could these measures serve as pretext for global mandates, restrictions on industry, and centralized regulation? The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated the agenda. Lockdowns, social distancing, and mass vaccination campaigns were framed as temporary measures. But some theorists warn that these events normalized compliance, digital tracking, and health monitoring tools essential for a centralized global plan. The Great Reset emphasizes stakeholder capitalism, a concept that suggests corporations, governments, and civil society should act collectively for the good of all. Critics question whether this collective vision is genuine, or if it is a framework to align every sector under a single, unaccountable authority. Digital ID systems are being promoted as a solution for security and efficiency. But these systems could also be used to control access to resources, track behavior, and enforce compliance. What appears as convenience may conceal mechanisms for unprecedented oversight. Some believe the Great Reset is not merely about policy, but about psychology. Public narratives are crafted to normalize changes, build acceptance, and minimize resistance. Could the entire communication strategy be part of a subtle program of mass conditioning? Global taxation, carbon credits, and wealth redistribution are being introduced as solutions to inequality and climate change. Yet these mechanisms may increase dependency on central authorities, tying individual prosperity directly to compliance with the system. Could this be a way to enforce obedience under the guise of fairness? The push for renewable energy, electric vehicles, and smart infrastructure is celebrated as progress. But theorists warn that control of energy resources is a form of power. Centralized management of energy could be used to influence behavior, limit freedom, and shape economies in ways invisible to the public. Surveillance technologies are expanding under the guise of safety and efficiency. Cameras, sensors, and AI monitoring systems track public movement and behavior. Could this infrastructure be laying the groundwork for a global system of control disguised as protection? Some warn that social credit systems, behavioral incentives, and digital governance may soon become tools to enforce compliance with the goals of the Great Reset. Rewards and penalties, invisible yet powerful, could influence choices on a global scale, dictating behavior without open force. The consolidation of global institutions under the Great Reset is striking. International organizations, NGOs, and multinational corporations are aligned in messaging, goals, and policies. Could this network represent a centralized hierarchy designed to manage humanity as a single system? The economic and social restructuring proposed by the Great Reset may also affect property rights, personal freedoms, and governance at national levels. Critics fear that local autonomy could be eroded, replaced by international mandates with limited accountability. Could sovereignty itself be redefined? Automation and artificial intelligence are central to the vision. While efficiency and progress are touted, these technologies also enable monitoring, prediction, and even manipulation of populations. Could the very tools designed to improve life be used to enforce control? Supply chains, trade agreements, and global finance are increasingly integrated. Some theorists argue that this integration makes economies dependent on central authorities, allowing unprecedented influence over nations. Could crises be leveraged to tighten this network further? The Great Reset emphasizes health, environment, technology, and governance as interconnected systems. This holistic approach, while appealing, could also create centralized leverage points, making populations more controllable and less independent. Public messaging often frames resistance as irrational, backward, or dangerous. Could this narrative be a method to suppress dissent, normalize compliance, and guide society toward acceptance of global governance? Digital platforms, data collection, and social engineering tools allow unprecedented insight into human behavior. By combining these with global economic and political reforms, theorists suggest the Great Reset could guide humanity subtly, shaping society without overt coercion. The plan's advocates speak of inclusivity, sustainability, and resilience. But critics warn that centralized control may be the true goal, using crises to justify interventions, and aligning every sector under a unified vision dictated by unseen elites. Some theorists believe the Great Reset is a long-term strategy, not a temporary program. Its influence on policy, economics, technology, and behavior could be permanent, subtly restructuring society, generation by generation, ensuring alignment with a global agenda. Scale of coordination, the influence over finance, media, and technology, and the framing of crises all suggest a deliberate strategy. The Great Reset may be the first visible layer of a far-reaching plan designed to consolidate power and reshape society under a single global system. In the end, whether we view the Great Reset as economic reform or as a blueprint for a new world order, its implications are profound. Humanity may be entering an era where the lines between guidance, manipulation, and control are blurred, and where the shape of the future is dictated by forces beyond the public eye. Our channel is 100% focused on stories like this, bringing you valuable information that the media hides from you. So please, to make sure you don't miss videos like this, subscribe to the channel and leave your like. It really helps our work.